Hey, good morning, folks. I'm attorney Roger P. Foley, and today I want to talk to you about drug trafficking. I had a person call my office not too long ago, and I have a lot of people that call. For a while, I was doing a lot of drug trafficking cases. This gentleman calls my office, and I end up, not what he told me, but I read a police report. And I'm going to give you kind of the gist of the police report, right? Police are contacted by a confidential informant. There's a snitch, right? And the snitch has told, according to the police report, a lot of detail, like name, age, height, type of vehicle the person drives, the type of drug that they're supposed to be buying from the person, the amount. There's a lot of details, right? All right. Now, the police... Now, I don't know all the facts, right? I read a police report, and the police report says that the police watched this person because obviously they knew his name, they knew his address, and they followed him at the time that there was supposed to be a meet. And the meet, well, I'll just give some examples, right? The guy was supposed to meet the guy at Palm Beach Lakes Mall at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday. Now, again, I don't know when the police got this information. The police surveilled the person's home. They check, David checked. They get his ID. They confirm that it's the person, at least who the snitch told them it was. And that's the only confirmation I think they did. They follow him, and he goes to the Palm Beach Lakes Mall. As he parks his car, he goes to exit, and whoo, right, they swarm in. Now, when they swarm in, one of the officers says that he sees the gentleman put something into the back seat. Okay. And then the guy gets out of the car. Now, I'm sure he's at gunpoint, guys. It's a drug trafficking case, right? Based on their training and experience, all drug traffickers are armed. They handcuff him. They detain him. They enter his car. They open up the bag. There's a box in the bag. They open up the box. And based on training and experience, not necessarily testing, but based on training and experience, smell, the officer said, it's kind of funny, based on my training experience of smelling cocaine, I believed it was cocaine, and I arrested him for drug trafficking. Now, this person hires an attorney. I'm not a name dropper, so I go online and I'm looking at the case, and again, nothing what the person calling me, I'm just reading the docket, public information. I see a couple of depositions that were supposedly taken. Do you have copies? No? Have you seen them? Nope. Is there any video? I don't know. Have you seen any video? No. Okay. Now, my simple mind goes, I don't know, right? If, depending on what time the police were noticed, meaning what time the snitch said, hey, I got a drug deal, I'm going to buy some drugs, right? Depending on what time that happened, I would like to think that the police would put what's called an application for a search warrant. So they could search this guy's property, they could search his car, right? If they, let's say there wasn't enough, if there was enough time for that, I think that should have been done, and I don't know that answer, so I would have asked that question in depo. Depending on the answer, I would have filed the appropriate motion to suppress based on that, or because I know that there's no affidavit for search warrant because they said, based on the tip, they stopped and searched the vehicle. Well, I don't think you can do it that way. And I'm not here to teach drug dealers how to get away with stuff, but I'm pointing out lazy defense work, in my humble opinion. If and I've had a bunch of drug trafficking cases. Usually it's even an affidavit for search, or here we go with the dum-dums driving. You kidding? Oh, I wish I had that on video. Like another dum-dum putting their hands up because, yeah, it's funny. Either there's an affidavit for search warrant and you attack that, or they pursue the vehicle, they watch it travel, and almost everybody makes a traffic infraction, right? I'm driving, you touch the line, you go too far in the stop bar, you follow someone long enough, and a cop's gonna come up with a reason to stop. So there should be a traffic stop. There's no mention of that. It simply says that the reason for the stop was based on the confidential informant. Well, what about file a motion to reveal the confidential informant? Now, the judge is going to go, well, what? I mean, it's the judge's discretion. Mr. Foley, why do you need that to defend the case? Well, Judge, I want to know exactly when that confidential informant gave it, because if they gave it to him 2 days before, a day before, 6 hours before, I think there would have been enough time for law enforcement to converse with the state attorney's office, file an application, for the search warrant, and I would make that argument that should have been done. If it was done an hour before, then I think that maybe being generous, the police should have waited for a traffic infraction to occur. And if a traffic infraction didn't occur, then I don't know that the stop is based on any validity. What if, respectfully, Judge, what if I was to call law enforcement and say that, Prosecutor Smith here is 6'1", 180 pounds. He drives a blue Chevy, and I'm going to meet him at the mall on Palm Beach Gardens and to buy drugs. What do you have to corroborate that information? So I think that a traffic stop, there would have had to been probable cause for a traffic stop, and then look, the judge might have denied that. I get it, but I think that there's a bunch of motions that should have been filed. 15-year drug trafficking charge, meaning that it's a minimum mandatory 15, and I think they were going to offer the guy like 10 instead of the 15, and I'm thinking, my goodness. So you really don't pick the cheapest defense attorney. Please, guys, please don't do that. If you're going to do illegal activities, or possibly do illegal activities, or even if you didn't do an illegal activity and whatever, you say the drugs were planted, figure out with friends and family how to raise some money to hire someone that's competent. Listen, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because I get calls on cases and I look at a docket and I'm like, there's nothing done on the case. Like, how could you not file any motions on a drug trafficking case? Now, the other thing that this person told me that they paid $12,000. I know you're all going to jump up and down. I would be on that same case. I would be between 40 and 50,000. And I don't know any attorney, honestly, that's competent that would do it for less than 25,000. I just don't. Maybe if you're having a bad month or something, I don't know. I can't imagine, because the time and the attention to detail has to be so great and so specific. Because if you lose, and when I say when you lose, if you lose the motion, you're not going to trial in a drug trafficking case. So you got to look at everything. You got to look at audio. You got to file the motion for the snitch. You got to do a probable cause stop. You got to attack the affidavit for search warrant. You got to do all these things. You got to look up case law, find analogous cases with the same facts, and you got to play it over and over and over and over, and it takes time. I don't read something one time and go, oh, here's the answer. Once in a while, but most of the time, no. I just had a DUI case the other day, and I probably read it 10 times, and I was going to court for a status, and my brain popped in. I came up with an argument, told it to the prosecutor on the spot, and he went, yeah, I think you're right, like, and changed the charge. It doesn't happen right away. You really got to think about things. You really got to do your homework. So be careful who you hire. Don't hire someone because they got a nice car or because their suit seems nice. I mean, those things are helpful, but it shows that they have some level of success. It shows that they care about the way they, you know, present themselves. But my goodness, like, talk to them, ask them at the front, what steps will you take? Well, I'll take a look at it. Well, take a look at it. I'm going to be looking for these kinds of motions on a drug trafficking case. Boom, 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 boom. I don't need any facts. You just tell me you have a drug trafficking case, and I know that there's either an affidavit for a search warrant or there's a stop, and that's it. I'm attacking those things. And as much as people like to say, oh, you can't win against the system. No, you can win, and I've won a lot of cases. Hell, you know, I don't want to get into what I've done or what I haven't done. There's always an attack. There's always a method for an attorney to do their best to help. And that's what you got to do. You got to be detailed oriented. And that detail means that you can't take all the other cases because you can't have a, you know, you can't be involved with 50 cases if you're doing a drug trafficking case. You just can't. So anyway, I'm attorney Roger P. Foley. Pick your attorney well, especially on drug trafficking cases. See ya.